Unit 1, Chapter 2, Biological Classification. Since the dawns of civilization, there have been many attempts to classify living organisms. It was done instantly, not using criteria that were scientific, but born out of need of use of organisms for our own use. In Linnaeus' time, a two-kingdom system of classification with plenty animal kingdom was developed that included all plants and animals respectively. This system was used till very recently. This system did not distinguish between eukaryotes and prokaryotes, unicellular and multicellular organism, and photosynthetic green algae and non-photosynthetic fungi organisms. Classification of organisms into plants and animals was easily done and was easily understood. In spite, a large number of organisms did not fall into either category. Hence, the two kingdom classification used for long term was found inadequate. A need was also felt for including, besides gross morphology, of other characters like structure, nature of wall, mode of nutrition, habitat, methods of reproduction, evolutionary relationships, etc. Classification systems for living organisms have hence undergone several changes over time. Though plant and animal kingdom have been constant under all different systems, the understanding of what been constant under all different systems, the understanding of what groups of organisms is being included under this kingdom have been changed. The number of nature of other kingdoms also have been understood differently by different scientists over time. Then, table 2.1, characteristics of five kingdoms. R.H. Whittaker in 1969 proposed the five kingdom classification. The kingdom defined by him were named Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae, and Animalia. The main characteristic classification used by him includes all structural thallus, organization, mode of nutrition, reproduction, phylogenetic relationships. Table 2.1 gives a comparative account of different characteristics of the five kingdoms. Let us look at the five kingdom classification to understand the issue of consideration that influences the classification system earlier. Gymnosperms and angiosperms under plants, the character that unified this whole kingdom was the all organisms include had a cell wall in their cells. This placed together group which widely differed in other characteristics. It, it brought together the prokaryotic bacteria and the blue-green algae with other groups which were eukaryotic. It also grouped together the unicellular organism and the multicellular ones. Say for example, Chlamydomonas, Pyrovira were placed together under algae. The classification that do not differentiate between the heterotrophic group fungi and the autotrophic green plant, though they also showed a characteristic difference in their walls composition. The fungi had chitin in their walls while the green plant had cellulose. Cell wall, when such characteristics were considered, the fungi were placed in separate kingdom, the kingdom fungi. All prokaryotic organisms were grouped together under the kingdom Monera. The unicellular eukaryotic organisms were placed in kingdom Protista. Kingdom Protista has brought together Chlamydomonas, Chlorella, earlier placed in algae with plants, and both having cell walls with Paramecium and Amoeba. Put together organisms which in earlier classified were placed in different kingdoms. This happened because the criteria of classification changed. The kingdom changes while take place in future depending upon the improvement in our understanding of characteristics that evolutionize the relationships. Over time, an attempt has been made to evolve a classification system which reflects not only the morphological, physiological, and reproductive similarities but is also phylogenetic, that is, based on evolutionary relationships. In this chapter, we will study characteristics of Kingdom Monera. 2.1, Kingdom Monera. Bacteria are the whole and sole member of Kingdom Monera. They are the most abundant microorganism. Bacteria occur almost every hundreds of bacteria are present in handful of soil. They also live in extreme habitats such as hot spring, deserts, snow, deep oceans where very few other life forms can survive. Many of them live in or other organisms as parasites. Bacteria are grouped under four categories based on their shape: the spherical cocci, rod, bacilli, and spirillum and vibrio. Though the bacterial structure is very simple, they are very complex in behavior. 2.1.1 Archaeobacteria. The bacteria are special since they live in some of the most harsh habitats such as extremely salty, hot springs, and marshy areas. 2.1.2 Eubacteria. There are thousands of different eubacteria are true bacteria. They are characterized by presence of a rigid cell wall and, if motile, a flagellum, the cyanobacterium. Also referred to as blue-green algae, have chlorophyll as similar in green plants and are photosynthetic autotrophs. Figure 2.2. The cyanobacteria are unicellular, colonial, or filamentous marine terrestrial algae. The colonies are generally surrounded by gelatinous sheath. They are 10-form blooms in polluted water bodies. Some of these organisms can fix atmospheric nitrogen. Specialized by cells called heterocyst. Example: nostoc and anabena. Chemosynthetic autotrophic bacteria oxidize various organic substances such as nitrates, nitrite, ammonia, and use release energy of their ATP production. They play a great role in recycling nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, iron, and sulfur. Heterotrophic bacteria, they are most abundant in nature. The majority are important decomposers. Many of them have significant impact on human affairs. They are helpful in making curd from milk, production of antibodies, fixing nitrogen in legumes. Some are pathogenic, causing damage to human beings, crops, farms, animals. Cholera, typhoid, tetanus, citrus are well known diseases caused by different bacteria. Bacteria are reproduced mainly by fusion. Sometimes, under unfavorable conditions, they produce spores. They also reproduce by sexual reproduction by adapting the primitive type of DNA transfer from bacterium to other. The mycoplasma are organisms that completely lack cell wall. 2.2 Kingdom Protista. All single-celled eukaryotic are placed under kingdom Protista, but boundaries of kingdom Protista are not well defined. Then 2.2.1 Chrysophytes. This group includes diatoms golden algae. They are found in fresh water as well as in marine environment. They are microscopic and float passively in the water planktons. 2.2.2 Dinoflagellates. These are organisms are mostly marine and photosynthetic. They appear yellowish green, brown, blue, red depending on the main pigment is present in the cells. The cell wall has stiff cellulose plates on their surface. Next is 2.2.3 Euglenoids. Majority of them freshwater organisms found in stagnant water. Instead of cell wall, they have a protein-rich layer called pellicle, which makes their body flexible. They have two flagella, a short and long one. Next is 2.2.4 Slime mouths. Slime mouths are spirophytic protists. The body moves along decaying twine and leaves engulfing organic material. Under suitable conditions, they form a aggregation called plasmodium, which may grow spread all over the feet, several feet. 2.2.5 Protozoans. All protozoans are heterotrophs and live as predators or parasites. They are believed to be primitive relative of animals. There are four major groups of protozoan. Amoeboid protozoan. These organisms live in freshwater, seawater, and most soil. They move and capture their prey by putting pseudopodia, that is false feet. As in amoeba, marine forms have silica shells on their surface. Some of them, such as entamoeba and parasites. Flagellated protozoan is the next one. The member of this group are earlier free living parasitic. They have flagella. The parasitic form cause disease such as sleeping sickness, example trypanosoma. Next is ciliated protozoan. These are aquatic, actively moving organisms because of presence of thousands of cilia. Next is sporozoans. These are including diverse organisms that have infection spores like stage in their life cycle. The most notorious is Plasmodium, malarial parasite which causes malaria, which has staggering effect on human population. Next is 2.3 is kingdom fungi. Kingdom fungi constitute a unique kingdom of heterotrophic organisms. They show a great diversity in morphology and habitat. When you bread develops a mold or orange rots, it is because of fungi. The most common mushroom you eat, toadstool, are also fungi. White spots seen on the mustard leaves are due to parasitic fungi. Some unicellular fungi are example of yeast, with the exception of yeast, which are unicellular fungi. Fungi are filamentous. Their body consists of long cylindrical thread-like structures called hyphae. The network of hyphae is known mycelium. Some of hyphae are continuous tubes filled with multinucleated cytoplasm. These are called coinocytic hyphae. Others have septate or crosswall in their hyphae. The cell wall of fungi are composed of chitin and polysaccharides. Most fungi are heterotrophic, absorb solubly organic material of dead substance and hence called saprophytes. Those that depend on living plants and animals are called parasites. They can also live as symbionts in association with algae, lichens, and with roots of higher plants of mycorrhizae. Reproduction of fungi can take place by vegetative means, fragmentation, fission, and budding. Asexual reproduction is by spores called conidia or spongy oospores or zoospores. And sexual reproduction is by oospores, ascospores, and basidospores. The various spores are produced in distinct structure are called fruiting bodies. The sexual cycle involves the following steps. First step is plasmogamy, second step is karyogamy, and third step is meiosis and zygote resulting in haploid spores. 2.3.1 Phycomycetes. Member of phycomycetes are found in aquatic habitats and decaying wood in moist and damp places or oblique parasites on plant. The mycelium is aseptate and coinocytic. Next is 2.3.2 Ascomycetes. Commonly known as sac fungi, the ascomycetes are unicellular examples, Saccharomyces, and multicellular Penicillium. Next is 2.3.3 Basidomycetes. Commonly known forms of Basidomycetes are mushroom, bracket fungi, or puffball. They grow in soil and logs, trees, stumps, and living in plant bodies as parasites. Example: rust and smuts. Next is 2.3.4 Deuteromycetes, commonly known as imperfect fungi because of only sexual or vegetative phase of this fungi are known. When the sexual form of this fungi were discovered, they were moved into class they rightly belong to. Next is 2.4 Kingdom Plantae. Kingdom Plantae includes all eukaryotes, chlorophyll containing organisms commonly known as plants. Next is 2.5 Kingdom Animal. A kingdom is characterized by heterotrophic eukaryotic organisms that are multicellular and their cell lacks cell wall. The sexual reproduction by copulation of male and female followed by embryological development. Silent features of various phyla are described in chapter 4. Next is 2.6 Viruses, viroids, and lichens. Five kingdom classification viters. There is no mention of some acellular organisms like virus, viroids, or lichens. These are briefly introduced here. All of us who have suffered the ill effect of common cold flu like effect viruses can have on us. Even if we don't associate it with our condition, viruses did not find place in classification since they are not trying truly living. The main mechanism of viruses is to infect the cell and replicate and take the process of replication by themselves and infect a human. Viroids. In 1971, T. O'Diner discovered a new infectious agent that was smaller than virus and caused potato spindle tuber disease. It was found to be free RNA. It lacked the protein code that is found in viruses, hence the name viroid. The RNA of viroid was low molecular weight. Lichens. Lichens are symbiotic associations that mutually useful association between algae and fungi. The algal component is known as phycobiont and fungal component is known as mycobiont, which are autotrophic and heterotrophic respectively. Algae prepare food for fungi and fungi provide shelter for absorption, malnutrition, and water for its partners. So close is the relation association that if one saw lichen in nature, one would never imagine that they had two different organisms within them. Lichens are very good pollution indicators. They do not grow in polluted areas. Here we finish our second chapter. Let's meet in the next video. Thank you guys.